Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and we have the first major patch notes for Diablo 4 Vestal of Hatred Season 6. And before you ask, no, there's no sweeping nerfs to Spiritborn, although Spiritborn 1 build is kind of getting a little bit of a nerf, in that evades will no longer be able to cancel the evade animation to evade spam. So all of those Spiritborns you see just spamming evade everywhere, that's no longer going to be a thing. But besides that, there is no sweeping nerfs or anything like that. So your builds are safe. You can play the builds. I know like the Orange Eagle build's been pretty popular. I believe it's clear like up to 150 pit right now, although there's a bug with pit bosses above 137, having them less life, but it is hands down the strongest build in the game. There's lots of bugs that are propping it up, but it should still be safe to go. Now, there are a ton of notes here, and as much as I would love to spend the next 40 minutes going over all of them, we're pretty much just going to do a highlight reel here, just kind of get through them as fast as possible, the important things that you need to know. Now, one thing that I do want to note is that this patch is coming out, I believe, on the 17th, but it might get pushed out a little bit, but we'll find out when this actually happens. So they're making a whole bunch of changes to like UI and UX stuff here. Most of this stuff to me wasn't really important unless you are using the party finder here. So now you're going to find Infernal Hordes and Caressed Undercity at the top, along with the Pit and Dark Citadel. And they're also making it so that glyph sockets have been adjusted to be more visually distinct in the Paragon board. I know a lot of people are kind of upset. That kind of feels like washed out right now and hard to see where glyphs are. And so it's supposedly a lot better now. They also removed the non-physical damage stat from the character stats window. It still like does stuff, except for it's split out like fire, cold, lightning, yada, yada, yada. And probably what I think is one of the best changes and what I've been rallying for a while is that combat text damage numbers are now abbreviated. So as opposed to seeing 1000000, it's now going to receive 10k and stuff like that. So we're going to see like probably K's for thousands, M for millions, B for billions, and probably some Spiritborns out there will be hitting some T's for trillions. I don't think we're going anywhere above that right now, and hopefully next season they're going to dial down some of those out of control bugs right now that Spiritborn's taking advantage of, so that the damage is a little bit pulled back. But yeah, there's just quite a bit of stuff going on right now, especially for the Spiritborn, which is, kind of exciting for sure. It's new stuff, new content. They're also adding some new cutscenes and loading screens, which are always cool. The last time they added this was when we got all of the cutscenes that are the loading screens that like show your character with your mount and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. They're making a whole slew of improvements here to Caress Undercity to basically improve the rewards. I don't know if there's still going to be some lingering bugs with some of the rewards. Like some of the bargains don't really appear to work all that well, but they are going through and they're like working on a ton of this stuff, and they're just making it generally a little bit easier to run as well. So the base run is even getting a time boost. So if you've been struggling doing Undercity at like low level builds, that will be a little bit better. Now, one of the big complaints for the season is that the Realm Walker seasonal mechanic is slow. I mean, slow. He moves so slow. And also, there's a lot of times there's just not a lot of enemies, not a lot of stuff going on. It feels pretty kind of lame. And now he's no longer going to reduce spawns if there's only one person. He's going to summon, it looks like 33% more spawns at a time at max. And then the base movement speed of him is going to up by 15%. And as you clear waves of Bloodbound Guardians, he's going to go up to 30% faster on top of the 15% base increase. So by the end there, if you kill everything, the Realm Walker should be trucking his way to the spot where he's going to finish up. You can also summon Treasure Goblins. They removed one Hatred Spire from the Nahatu region. There'll still be 3 spires in everywhere else on the map. And they're removing the Hatred Rising icon on the map. And now you have to find the Realm Walker via the event icon, which I think if like you're looking at the map here, there's not one active, but there's like typically like a little like green marker on the map. And then there's a marker for the Realm Walker specifically. and that's the green marker should be going away, I think. They did do some balance updates for classes here. So Sorcs are getting a little bit of love with like their overheating aspect and charged flash. And there is a whole bunch of these kind of like later on. This is like kind of strange to have this here because there is some stuff later on that we'll talk about. But a bunch of mythic uniques are basically getting some of their stats increased, their life values increased, and they're finally putting Shroud of False Death into the game, which is pretty nice. We're going to see how that worked out. And then for Scrolls of Restoration from the Dark Citadel weekly cache, this is something you get if you go and you run the Dark Citadel. I actually haven't unlocked it on this character yet, but once you go and run it on all of one difficulty, so Torment 1, Torment 2, Torment 3, Torment 4, you receive a cache for the week for that character. And previously, you would get 1 to 2 Scrolls of Restoration. And now if you're running it on Torment 4, you're going to get 3 Scrolls of Restoration. These are the things that one time restore all of the tempering chances on an item and can only be used one time per item. So just more scrolls, which is pretty nice. Although you do get these from Infernal Hordes, and I think I have over 20 of these just chilling in my stash right now. They also added in all of the items that were not available previously, and now they're going to be turned back on. So Aspect of the Azure Wolf, Azure Wrath, Frostburn, Shroud of False Death, all coming back. There's a new Mount Trophy that's added as a reward for reaching Paragon 300. And now Super Elite monsters will be getting up to 3 times more loot than a regular Elite. And the Waller affix is getting nerfed. Now the walls last 3 seconds, reduced from 5. And they cast less walls, so less annoyance there, which is pretty good. And Varshan's getting nerfed, so he has less barrier. There's a whole bunch of different bugs and stuff in here that they fixed up, such as like using a Sealed Opal could, always guarantee a drop from the first monster you kill, which was kind of bad. Also an issue where destroying an object right after consuming a Seething Opal would immediately remove the buff, which, yeah, it's pretty annoying. And then a whole bunch of Dark Citadel fixes, just like clearing up some of the fights and making everything a little bit smoother, making it so that missed cosmetic items that were dropped would be sent to your equipment tab, which is very nice. Some of these bugs were like things where like if you use an immunity thing here for like Blood Mist or Flame Shield while Zargrel uses Soul Entanglement Wipe, it would cause you to be stuck at 1 HP, which is pretty bad. I'm not sure how long that persists for, but it seems like that could be quite annoying. And they also went through, they fixed a whole bunch of bugs here with Caress Undercity here, making it so like the achievement could be earned now. There's also like some spawning stuff where like the wrong type of enemies were spawning, or things like where you're dying while channeling the boss room could block your progression. And also right now it seems like attunement chests were granting identical loot for everybody in the party. And they want it to be individualized loot, but not like exactly the same thing, which is pretty crazy. They went through and they fixed some bugs here for runes, not really nerfing any of these, but just like making sure that they are working correctly here. Mercenary stuff, they just went through and fixed up some of these small bugs for this. Now you won't be able to have mercenaries killing blood-marked players in town, which apparently was a thing. Also, like there was a little like buff icon thing where I was noticing like Warcry was appearing over the head of my mercenary, and that's not going to be there anymore. Now the Infernal Hordes in Torment 1 and 2 will be a little bit faster paced because they were spawning enemies slower than Torment 3 and 4. So these are going to be like kind of all queued up together. And then certain items that were supposed to drop more commonly in Infernal Hordes are now going to actually be dropping more commonly. Not really sure exactly what that is. They fixed some more bugs as well with the pit and just dungeons in general. They fixed a whole bunch of stuff with quests, especially like things like the Deeds of the Champion, which is the new system here, and some of the stuff in the main story quest as well. And things like there was a bug with the Beast in the Spiritborn class quest, where it could fail to respawn if you died during the second phase, which didn't happen to me, but I would imagine that being quite annoying. And so also sometimes the clone spawn during the Abulan encounter could freeze and prevent progression if they were staggered at low health. Yeah, and I think I had at least one friend, I think, died of this in hardcore because the boss just wouldn't go to the next phase, which is pretty pretty annoying. And then just like moving forward through the rest of the stuff, it's a whole bunch of general bug fixes and stuff. One thing is pretty big is that they fixed an issue where fewer automatically granted crafting materials were received in higher difficulty tiers than intended. If we understand, we're going to be getting more like rawhide and iron chunks and stuff. The stuff that a lot of people are saying that they're struggling with. These things here, so like iron chunk, rawhide. Now, personally, if you just scrap stuff, you know, that you pick up, as opposed to always vendoring it, you're going to like have a decent amount of this, as you can see here. But we'll be getting even more now, it seems like, which will be, I guess, a good thing. They fixed some issues with the Shroud of False Death, which was one of the reasons why they prevented it from being in there. So this Mythic Unique will now be available. And they fixed an issue where defeating the Echo of Lilith did not reward a Resplendent Spark. I killed Echo of Lilith like on day 1 and was really annoyed to not get a spark. And so any player that has defeated Echo of Lilith this season, so you haven't done it this season, you still have to do it, but I'm pretty sure you can just do it on Torment 1. You'll be rewarded a Resplendent Spark soon after logging in once this patch is live. And once again, this is going live probably on Thursday. And then they fixed a whole bunch of bugs for different classes. So like Mighty Throw, Size Temper affixes didn't really do anything in the character stats panel. A whole bunch of stuff here for druids, like active ravens would persist indefinitely after unequipping Stormcrow's aspect, or like the 4th shred attack from the aspect of the Agile Wolf did not dash, stuff like that. Issue where Shade Mist aspect would occasionally not deal damage from a minion if it was equipped after that minion was summoned. So just weird little bugs like this. Preparation wasn't resetting Dance of Knives charges. A whole bunch of sorcerer issues, actually an insane amount of sorcerer issues. Things like where the tempering affix for chance for lightning speed to deal double damage wasn't functioning, which I don't think this matters because it's not really where the damage is coming from. Fix an issue where aspect of acceleration could allow the player to evade without a cooldown. I wish I had gotten this issue on my Spirit Board, not something that I had gotten. And then a whole bunch of stuff here for Spirit Board as well. So like where the unique power of Jacinth Shell did not interact properly with skills that use charges. The acceleration passive would cause the attacks reduce evades cooldown affix not to work at all. So this is the acceleration passive is the one here that gives you additional evade charges and also makes it so that after you evade, your next Eagle skill does increase damage. So that was just completely breaking the attacks reduce evades cooldown, which I think means that we're going to have a way to basically still spam evades. I put a build together with this, but I reported a bug because this wasn't working. I guess they figured out what was going on. And so now we'll be able to still spam evade without using Sepazantec. So I'll probably be putting that build together after the patch goes live here. They fixed an issue where acceleration could be consumed by non-damaging abilities. Fixed an issue where the affix for Soar granting barrier didn't like masterwork up or greater affix up. Scorn of the Earth unique boots did not grant the correct amount of bonus damage to Soar. Supremacy stacks could be granted from automatic casts of ultimate abilities like the Yam rune. Fixed an issue where Shard of Varithel could drop for Spirit Born. I had that happen. I was kind of confused. They fixed an issue where Rada Kapaleke had a weird interaction with Payback. And then some Spirit Board unique items could not drop from Flare ambushes, whatever those are. And then they fixed an issue where Spirit Board could cancel the evade animation mid-evade. And that's the thing that's pretty much allowing the evade build to like spam their space bar as fast as they possibly can and just evade like a mad person. More party, like a whole bunch of party finder bugs here as well. Things like allowing Cuirassed Undercity to be selectable like from level 1 through 14. And a whole bunch of other just UI stuff that's just going to be like maybe not all that noticeable or all that impactful, but it's like nice little fixes and stuff. Fixing an issue like where bonuses from several glyphs did not display in the character stats within town. And I really do feel like there's a lot of issues right now where there are buffs or aspects or other things that don't work in town and only work outside of town. And they really need to clean all these up because it's kind of annoying trying to figure out your build and stuff like that and knowing that you can only really tell what's going on outside of town. Apparently there's been an issue where buying a mace from the Purveyor of Curiosities actually gives you an axe. And so they're fixing that. They're making it so that our pets can't be attacked by enemies, which is nice. They say no power in the deepest of hell's depths could save you from that swift and brutal retribution of your pet getting killed, probably. So yeah, that would I'm glad that that can't happen anymore. What else here? Anything else that's really important? Oh yeah, we're all getting +1 inventory space if you haven't claimed your Uravar's charged sword. This is a cosmetic thing that you get for completing the campaign, and it was not claimable by Spiritborns, so it's just been sitting in my stash the entire time here, and so I'll be able to finally activate this. Even though it says not usable by your class, this will be usable here shortly. That's pretty much it for the patch notes. I'll put a link to all of these down below if you want to go through and read them all yourself. Kind of try to go through most of the important stuff. Oh, one more thing. They fixed an issue where material caches would drop the materials in small amounts over a long period of time. Now they drop more quickly in a large pile, which is nice. I really did not like handing in a whisper cache and it's just like pooping out loot for the next like 30 seconds here. I was like waiting for it to all come out. So it's a little bit faster now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Pretty excited to see the first patch here. As expected, there's no real major nerfs for any builds. Some buffs kind of from bugs getting bugged out. The only thing that kind of got nerfed was the evade build. And I think they mostly did that because it was breaking the servers with people spamming evade. And it was like a whole bug basically that was allowing people to do action that they shouldn't be able to do. Hopefully this video finds you well. We'll see you again next time. Later.